probably relate a little bit to the prophet Habakkuk. His prayer to start off the first reading says, "How long, O Lord? I cry for help, but you do not listen." You know, so many times we ask the Lord for things and we're like, I want it now, come on, in college you're like, I need good grades, I need to get a degree, I need to find like the perfect person to marry, and like all these things. Come on, Lord, just give them to me. I'm going to church on Sundays, and but we often end up saying, "How long, O Lord? I cry for help, but you do not listen. What's going on?" And the Lord responds to this in the end of the first reading when he says, "For the vision still has its time, presses on to fulfillment, and will not disappoint. If it delays, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not be late." It's a rather humble reminder that we're always working on the Lord's time. If you've been following the daily readings for Mass this week, we've been hearing from from Job, and Job kind of gets a bad deal. Satan picks on him, and then he cries out to God, and he's like, "Cursed the day I was born." And it kind of seems just that Job would react in this way. But what does God say to him? God says, he says, "Did you design the earth? Did you fill the oceans with water? Did you command the trees to grow? Are you the one who commands the stars to shine in the sky?" Job had been saying, "Why me? Why me? Why do I have to suffer? Lord, why aren't you relieving me of this? Why am I going through everything?" And God says, "Yeah, this isn't good, but you have to trust that I'm in control. You're saying me, 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 but you're not saying anything about the one who created you." And that's this wonderful reminder that the Lord is going to work on his time. It's probably one of the most frustrating things to be told is that, on God's time, and it's like, come on, speed it up. But it's life. And God does know. We're not worried about him messing up the plan. As long as we're really seeking to do God's will, we can be sure that it's going to happen. As long as we're not trying to force our own will, we can be sure that his will triumph. And so we get this beautiful prayer from the apostles today. They've been walking with Christ, and they've been seeing his miracles. They've been listening to the stories, and all of a sudden they say, "Increase our faith. Increase our faith, Lord." And what does Jesus do? It seems kind of unhelpful, He says, "If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you'll tell this tree to be uprooted and planted in the sea." And it's like, really? Were the apostles doing that poorly? And but what Jesus is really, what he wants the apostles to realize is that a small amount of faith can go a long ways. Because the Lord doesn't call us to do great things right now, He calls us to do small things well. He calls us to trust in him, to make little acts of faith. And all of us, by the very fact that we're here right now, have done that. All of us have made the decision to come to Mass this weekend. All of us have said to ourselves, okay, it's important that I observe the Lord's Day. It's important that I give him the proper amount of time. That's a small act of faith, but that goes a long way. That's how our faith grows, is by making the small acts of faith, by taking these small steps. And we see this with the saints. St. Therese is a great example of someone who found her little way. She wanted to be this great missionary, and she ends up stuck cloistered in this obscure town in France. And she never leaves the confines of the convent once she enters, right? But she makes this decision to love in the very small things, to love in her daily life, to love all those whom she encounters, to treat them as she would treat Christ. This tiny woman, she died at the age of 24. She never left the convent, but she wanted so badly to be a missionary. And now we honor her as the patron saint of missionaries throughout the world, because a small act of faith can go such a long ways when we put our trust in God. And so whatever your work is this week, wherever God's calling you to be, in class, walking through campus, whatever it is, give it over to him. Trust that the Lord is going to use it. Say, okay, Lord, I don't know how you want to use me right now, but I'm open to it. Lord, whatever it is, I'm here to serve you. I'm not here to serve myself. And so we pray with the apostles that our faith will be increased, that we'll be able to respond in these small moments in order to reap great rewards in the kingdom of heaven.